Hello everyone, and we welcome you to the second segment of Arattai Arangetram with Mesma Belsare. So, Mesma, I wanted to talk about a topic in Devil's Advocate today, and the topic we chose is our sense of morality within the frame of Bharatanatyam, and then also out of it in the general society that we live in. So a lot of compositions in traditional Bharatanatyam were written in a period like 300 or 400 years ago, or even before that. And throughout this time, what is right and what is wrong has gone through a lot of, let's say, ups and downs. Some have been periodic. So I constantly find myself in this very nebulous zone of morality. Let's say, if it's about tolerance to ideas that are not existent anymore, or tolerance to ideas that have been that we see signs of it in our past but not anymore. Does it if it has to do with, for example, fidelity in sexual relationships, or let's say a natural discourse on sexuality? Somehow, right now, the society seems very focused on insisting that everything sexual in our literature has to do with metaphysical meanings and nothing else. So I want to ask you, how do you view morality, being an artist and being also on some level a traditional Bharatanatyam artist? And is it different in India, and when you're performing to different audiences? And I know it's a very vague question, but just to have it started. What is morality to you, and what is right and wrong, and how do you express it in your art while keeping it sensitive to people as well, your audience?
What a question. I'll be honest with you. The only thing that is immoral, according to me, is to not do justice to your work. Rest everything is completely a subjective matter.
Mm-hmm.
What is moral and what is not? We don't live in a black and white world. Our lives cannot be structured into this is black and that is white. Life is a whole range of the grays in between. And the same thing applies in artistic expressions. When we get into this debate about what is wrong and what is right, and what is moral and what is immoral, we are being dishonest towards our own complexities as humans. And our art, our traditions, our artistic expressions through time, you mentioned compositions in Bharatanatyam being as old as they are. Sometimes they can belong to a different time, and they do belong to a different time than the times we live in. But the complexities of who we are as human beings don't change. They remain. The shades of gray remain. And I don't think there's anything immoral in the treatment of say a traditional padam, where the content might be shocking to some people in a certain time, because it might come across as extremely progressive for even our own times. And I think that judgment of immoral moral is not in the work, or it's not in the poetry, it's not in the art, it is in us. And it is our inability to be at par with the caliber of the work that we resort to this easy way of calling it immoral, and therefore we opt out of the experience of that masterpiece or that work, because art in itself is pure, you know. And Bala Saraswati, in fact, famously quoted, and I'm quoting her, is when she said that if you try to purify a composition, it is as ridiculous an act as painting a flower. If you have a problem with how the flower looks, and you pick up a jar of paint and start to paint over it so that it will look the way you want it to look, that act is just is similar to when you start to treat compositions in a way that will suit your own assessment and your own notion of what is moral. So like I said, I think the only thing immoral for me is when I don't do justice to the art and to the artist that I think I can be.